Hello, my wonderful NSL students. I miss you all so much. I really hope that you're all staying safe and healthy. I just want to give you a little introduction video because we are now going to start our next unit, which is Unit 6. It's called Foreign Policy. And your assignments for the next couple of weeks will have to do with foreign policy. So I just wanted to give you a little background information about what exactly that is. So give me a quick second to pull up my slides. All right, so foreign policy, you might remember the word foreign just has to do with something that is not native, so something that is not necessarily familiar in your given area. So when we're talking about something foreign to the United States, that's pretty much any other country in the world. So when we're talking about foreign policy, specifically that's how a nation deals with other nations that are outside of its own boundaries. So in other words, how does the US decide to have relationships with Spain, with China, with Italy, anything like that? What do we decide to do to interact with other countries? So basically, how does the government interact with other nations to improve their status and promote their own interests? So of course, we always want to improve our own nation, but we also do want to improve other nations too. And a lot of time by improving other nations, that turns out to be pretty good for us as well. So think about a couple ways that maybe we might deal with foreign policy, and a lot of these have to do with with tactics you might be familiar with maybe like a friend or a person you're having conflict with. So for example, if you're having an issue with a person, one thing you might do is just talk it over with them and try to come up with a compromise, something you both agree on. So that would be called a negotiation. That's where you both come to terms that you agree with. Something else you might do is find another person who can come in and help you solve the problem. So that would be called mediation. You might make some kind of deal with the person. That would be like a treaty. You could just fight it out with the person, and that could be in relation to foreign policy, like military force. And you might just decide, I'm going to stop talking to this person. So that could be something like a sanction. So if you ever heard of like an economic sanction, something like that, that just means when you are no longer allowing the other person or country to do something they used to do. So it might be if there's trade sanctions that we are no longer trading with that country. We're no longer going to give them things they need or get things from them. A couple other examples are maybe you might get involved and try to help when someone else is having a problem. That would be similar to internationalism. So if two other countries are having an issue with each other, we're going to get involved and try to help or figure it out in some way. Or we might decide, hey, this does not involve us. We're going to back off, not think about how it involves us in any way. That would be isolationism. So you're just sticking back from the issue. You're not going to get involved with it. So those are kind of just some background terms to help you understand what foreign policy looks like. A little more specifically, at least here in the US, we have four main foreign policy goals. The first one being security, so like the security of our country. How can we stay safe? So a lot of times it has to do with military force, those kinds of things. Or it could be technology and intel we have on other countries just to be able to keep us safe. Another foreign policy goal we have is economic security. Basically, we want to stay wealthy as a nation. Another foreign policy goal is ideological. So the word ideological has the word idea in it. So if you think about that, essentially, it's just what are the ideas that we have, what are the beliefs that we have, and how can we spread this to other people? So for example, a big common example there is if we here in the United States believe in a democracy, we want to spread those beliefs to other countries as well. So that would be spreading our ideologies. And lastly, we have humanitarianism, which is, that has the root word of human in it. We just want to help people because we're all people. So that's the idea of humanitarianism. If someone's in need, we help them because we're humans. All right, so just very quickly, some examples there. If we're talking about US national security, take a guess real quick of which of our four goals that might fall under. That would be security. Another example of security is if we want to eliminate weapons of mass destruction, which could be something that could be very deadly to us and maybe other countries as well. We also want to prevent terrorism. That's another way security comes in there. Another example here is maybe we want to promote the US economic well-being. So we want our country to be wealthy. So that would have to do with our economic security, which is what we just talked about last unit, anything to do with money pretty much. You also want to improve the global economic conditions. So we're not just focusing on our own economy, but kind of the economy of the world. We don't all want to be tanking. That again is economic security. If we want to help develop nations, that means if a nation maybe is really struggling, they're not fully developed as a nation, don't have all the food or necessities that they need, we might come in and try to help them out. There's a couple different policies that apply here. One of them being economic security. So we want to be able to help them because think about it, if they are now a developed nation, then maybe we can trade with them in the future, and that becomes something that helps us and our economy. We might want to do it for humanitarian reasons, which is, again, we're all humans. If they're suffering, we need to step in and help. Or it could be ideological. So these people here need some help. If we step in and help them, then maybe we can kind of spread our beliefs of democracy to them, something like that. Another example here is promoting human rights. Again, more than one place this could fall, ideological or humanitarian. So kind of pushing what we think is right, but that would be ideological. And again, just trying to protect humans, that would be humanitarianism. And one last example, if we want to spread democracy, yet again, this could fall under either ideological, because that's our main belief system here in the US, or it could be humanitarianism. If we fully believe that to be the best people, you have to have a democracy, then that might be a reason that we have decided to spread this idea to other people to protect humans. All right, so that is it there for just our little intro to foreign policy. So basically, how do we interact with other nations? So for this week's assignments, there's a couple things you're going to look into of how exactly do we make foreign policy and who makes those decisions. So you just have to do a short reading there and answer some questions about it. But I just wanted to give you a little background information on what foreign policy is. I miss you all so much. Hope you're staying safe and have a wonderful week.